Hello, Elizabeth here, and today I'm going to show you how to make a scannable vinyl QR code sticker using your Cricut machine. QR codes are extremely versatile. They have a ton of uses, particularly if you're a business owner. And cutting a custom sticker out of Cricut vinyl gives you the freedom to stick it onto almost any surface you can imagine. This is a porcelain coaster. Maybe you want to stick it onto your shop window or onto one of your products or an acrylic sign. You can even follow these same steps to cut it out of heat transfer vinyl and stick it onto something fabric like a tote bag. Whatever it is you're looking to make, I'm going to walk you through everything step by step. Starting out with creating the QR code itself, there are other generators out there, but my personal favorite is QR Code Monkey. It's very customizable, which you'll soon find out is extremely helpful and is completely free. First, you'll need to enter whatever URL you want the QR code to redirect to. Next, you can set your colors, which would come in handy if you were going to be printing the image or using it online somewhere. But because we're cutting this out of vinyl, I'm just selecting one color and making it black with a white background. Next, you can add a logo image if you want to. They have some built-in social media icons, or you can even upload your business logo and it will show up in the middle like this example here. I'm not doing that today, but if your logo is fairly simple like many of these social media icons, it can absolutely work when cutting vinyl like we are today. Next, you can customize your design. A standard QR code typically is made up of squares, like this example over here. It's like a bunch of square pixels. But you may be surprised to learn that QR codes can actually be functional in all of these different types of shapes, which is super useful for us today because we are cutting vinyl and we will need to weed this design. All of these individual squares of the standard QR code design may become very tricky for you to weed. Figuring out which pixels stay and which pixels need to be removed would be a very big headache with the amount of individual squares that are involved here. If we change the shape to something more rounded, now it's much more obvious which parts of the design are the positive and the negative space. Because the individual dots are just floating on their own, we can remove almost the entire background in one large piece and just have a few little bits left to weed out. So I'm going with this more rounded design for mine today. So I'll save the image to my computer, here it is in my downloads, and I'll just do a quick test scan to make sure it works before moving on to the next step. Beautiful, it works great. There's my YouTube channel just like I wanted. I'm switching over to my phone for this next part, but you can absolutely do this entirely on a phone or entirely on a computer. So I'm going to upload my image to Cricut Design Space and remove the background, making sure to get those few bits that are left after removing the largest background piece. And then we can upload it right onto our canvas. The bigger your QR code is, the easier this is going to be because it is a very detailed design. I'm going to do mine super small to show you that it is possible, but a larger design will certainly make your life much easier. I'm going with 1.5 by 1.5 inches. And now I'm ready to cut my vinyl, so I'll hit Make It and make sure I have vinyl selected in the settings. Then I'll load my Cricut cutting mat with an appropriately sized piece of vinyl into my machine. I'm doing black, but it will also work with other colors of vinyl. You want to make sure your blade is brand new and super sharp for the fine detail work we're doing. If your vinyl doesn't seem to be cutting all the way through or is cutting too deep, I have another video tutorial to troubleshoot and solve this problem. Here's my teeny tiny QR code, and now it's time to weed. Using my little hook tool, I'm first removing the largest background piece and then carefully fishing out those few remaining pieces. If your blade isn't sharp enough or your pressure isn't high enough for a good clean cut, you may struggle here and accidentally pick up some of the tiny dots along with that background piece when you remove it. Once your design is weeded, give it another test scan just to make sure it's still working before you apply it to your surface. If it's not working, you may have pulled off some pieces by accident or missed some of your weeding. As long as it's working, you can go ahead and cut some transfer tape, peel off the backing, and use a scraper to transfer the design onto the tape. Scraping from the back side of the design is really helpful when you have lots of tiny details like this to help avoid shifting them around. Slowly peel up your tape and watch as you go to make sure every last dot is coming up. If not, you can press the tape back down and re-scrape to make sure you get all of your pieces. And then you can transfer it onto your surface. I did it off camera, but you should always clean your surface with some rubbing alcohol before applying a vinyl design to help with longevity. Again, be very careful with your pressure and your peel back to make sure you don't lose any of those dots. Give your QR code one last scan test. And here is the final result. Depending on your item, you may want to seal over top of your QR code at this point with resin or another sealant to protect it from wear and tear. But if it's going on something like a sign that won't be touched, that's probably not necessary. Use your judgment. I hope you found this tutorial helpful. I have tons of other Cricut tutorials on my channel as well, so definitely check those out. If you enjoyed this video, I would love for you to subscribe to my channel and leave a comment letting me know what sort of videos you'd like to see in the future. See you later!